you gonna come?
Welcome back to listeners to the Fright or Flight podcast, where we rank, recap, and review every horror movie in a given franchise. And if you cannot tell, we're not talking about Ghostbusters today. Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit. It's our worst.
Yeah.
Worst. I'm Jumpscare Jer and or Geraldine, the Fright of the podcast.
And I'm Frankie. I'm the flight of the podcast. Geraldine, you have so much memorabilia.
I don't have enough. That's the problem. I need more. I need more.
If you guys are watching the video
enough.
feed, you'll see it. If you guys want to see how much stuff that Geraldine has about the Ghostbusters, you can watch it on YouTube.
My newest piece is the one on the furthest left. It's the Slimer popcorn bucket from, I think, either Cinemark or AMC. It's like $20 retail. If you pay attention, the little Slimer has a little butt crack.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm looking at it.
It's got a little slussy.
Oh. Did you just think of that? Or have you been
I
thinking about
I said it the other day.
Okay, yeah.
Because I was like, oh my God, look at his little slussy over there. I was like, Slimer, what that slussy do?
Yeah, it does. You guys can't see it, but I can verify for all of you. It does have.
Slimer's thick.
For real?
With like 2 C's. Mm-hmm. Maybe 3.
Yeah, this is our first season where we're covering like a movie franchise specifically for the year.
Yeah. This is a different one because the last one was a franchise focus on a person's work.
Yeah, this one's like a franchise.
Yeah, an actual franchise.
Yeah.
And while it's not like horror, like like
It's
your
spooky.
typical horror, it's more family friendly horror,
ghosts.
which I love.
Yeah.
But so I mean, this is probably the first season. Well, it's probably not family friendly our episode because I already screwed it up by saying slussy.
Yeah, I don't know. But if I'm being honest with you, I don't think the movie is super family friendly, actually.
No, it's not.
Like,
There's a
it's
lot of sexual innuendo in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot. As a kid, I remember distinctly having to close my eyes. So that's fun.
Having to close your eyes, like your parents still were like, hey.
They're like, close your eyes. And I was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
As an adult, I know why.
I do think quite a bit of it, though, for a kid, you wouldn't really notice.
No, I wouldn't. I'd be like, what? Mm-hmm. What's the big deal? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Which a lot of things went over my head as a child and as an adult sometimes still.
For sure.
So
I love the stuff that, like, as a kid, it goes over your head.
Yeah.
But then for the adults watching, they, like, slide some jokes in there.
Well, because, like, I have a niece. She's, like, 6 years old. She loves the Trolls movies. I watched one of the newest Trolls movies with her. That shit was loaded with adult humor.
Oh my gosh, it has so much adult humor. They talk about tying each other up after their wedding day.
They literally talk about like making out, and they say, "What the hell?" I'm like, "Oh my God, this child's ears."
There's
He's
like references to.
I didn't think I was gonna be the only one like tied up on our wedding day.
Yeah,
something.
I loved it. Me and Bailey are big fans of the Trolls movie. We didn't even have, like you said, you watched it with your niece.
Yeah.
There was no child involved when me and Bailey watched
I mean,
it.
I get it though. I also love going to the movies to see like children, like, targeted films.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because sometimes they're really funny and really cute and adorable and they're just wholesome. Like Inside Out 2, you bet your sweet ass I'm going to be there and I'm going to cry my eyes out because it's healing. But yeah, Ghostbusters, it's family friendly and it's probably the first family friendly-ish movie that we've watched.
A franchise for sure.
Because we did cover Haunted Mansion, the old one and the new one. Yeah. That was probably...
I'd argue that the Haunted Mansion movies are more family friendly.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
They're definitely more family. But this is the first like franchise full season. We're going to do like 5 episodes of this.
5 episodes because there's a new one.
New one coming out soon, guys.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, Geraldine, as you can tell, loves the Ghostbusters.
I do. In fact, Tennessee has their own Ghostbusters club.
Oh.
Yeah, and I really wanted to be in it, so I messaged them one day. I was like, "Hey, man, like, how do you become a little Ghostbuster? Because I want to be one." They make you buy the shit. They make you buy like an actual like really expensive like proton pack.
I wonder how much it is.
I think it's pretty pricey, but they wanted me to meet them one day, and at this time I was at my old job that I was not enjoying. Mm-hmm. I don't know, something happened, and like we weren't able to go out and meet them. They were in Nashville doing like some sort of meet and greet thing at like a movie in the park, and I was so excited. I was like, I'm gonna meet the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
We didn't get to go.
That sucks.
And Patrick's like, it's okay, babe. You're a Ghostbuster in my heart. And I was like, that doesn't count though.
Yeah.
Damn, that sucks. I had a job where I had to commute through Nashville every day pretty much for a long time.
The roughest drive.
Yeah, it is so rough. It was awful. But on my drive for like a 20 to 30 minute span, every once in a while there would be a Kia Soul. I also drive a Kia Soul. Don't judge me. But there would be another Kia Soul that was silver, and it was decked out with Ghostbusters stickers. It had proton packs on the top, caution tape, lights. So we had the same commute for like 30 minutes every day, and I was always very happy to see them.
You know what's really funny is I thought about getting like a Stay Puft hat for my car because my car's white. But I don't trust people. I feel like they would, one, steal it,
Probably.
or two, it would fly off somehow. But I would want to make it like kind of heavy, like like the police cars, like
Yeah.
just throw that little siren on the top like that, but a hat.
Or like Domino's. And they have a little Domino's cap on the top. You've seen it.
Yeah, like that. Like it needs to be heavy and like can sustain my bad driving. Like my curb.
It's magnets.
I need it to like stay because I want to actually deck my car out. I want to get the Ghostbusters thing on the side of my car because it's white and it's perfect. It's a blank canvas, babes. Blank canvas.
So, I want to talk to you a little about that because you love the Ghostbusters.
I freaking do.
You love them so much. What about the Ghostbusters is so endearing to you?
Well, I don't know. I really cannot even put my finger on it. Well, first of all, the ghosts of Ghostbusters are the coolest part ever. This is made in 1984.
Yeah,
So
watching them was so cool. Like the animation, not just of the ghosts, but even like the beams from the guns that they have.
Oh, yeah.
Looks so cool.
It's so cool. And we'll definitely show a little bit of that because it's really, really cool. There's a small behind the scenes video that I'll show. It's a really cool video. It was near and dear to my parents because they grew up watching this kind of thing. So, of course, naturally, they showed it to me. Probably one of the more arguably family-friendly or age-appropriate films that I was shown.
That you were shown as a child, yeah.
And it is so good. It's so endearing. I love it because, you get ghosts, you get humor, you get all of it in between. You get a little bit of romance, and it's just so fun. It's so fun. And then, of course, Stay Puft. He's... the big bad and monster, little guy, the cute guy in the end, and I just giggle the whole time. He's just so cute.
I didn't know much about the Marshmallow Gentleman, but I did grow up like seeing them. Like I remember seeing like cardboard cutouts at like Sears or whatever of the Michelin Man, and I always thought it was really interesting. I heard they weren't able to get that they wanted the
Pillsbury Doughboy.
The Pillsbury Doughboy, but they couldn't pay they wanted too much money, so that's why they got the Michelin Man instead.
But they did it, and he's a cute little marshmallow instead, and I love it because he's legendary. However, so I have a backpack that I didn't put on the table of Stay
I love
Puft.
your backpack. Your backpack's so
love
cool.
It. I carried it forever, and this one girl was like, "Oh my God, it's the Pillsbury Doughboy." I didn't have the heart to tell her, "Nah, dude, it ain't the Pillsbury Doughboy. Like, this is a Stay Puft, but it's okay." I was like, "Oh yeah," because I'm just nice. I was like, I'm just gonna let her have it.
Yeah, Geraldine. Bailey's parents also love the Ghostbusters. I mean, I think
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? And that grew up in that time probably like the Ghostbusters.
It's so good.
But she didn't know that Stay Puft was like a fictional brand. She always thought it was a real marshmallow brand.
It seems legit.
It's because it's based off of Jet Puff.
Yeah.
Which is the marshmallow cream.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you haven't had Jet Puff marshmallows, they're so good.
I really want to make one of those. I think they make them up in Canada, Fluffernutter, where it's like peanut butter and the marshmallow fluff on a sandwich.
This is funny. This is Stay Puft, and it says Gozer's Goodies, s'mores, marshmallow treats. I buy little snacks when I find them out in public that are based on Ghostbusters, but I'm never going to open them because I have like a marshmallow treat in the front. It's old. It's more like yellowy of Stay Puft, but he's cute, and I'm not going to eat him. And I hope that he kind of looks goofy whenever I have him forever because then it's kind of funny. And then he's going to get like gross and hard.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
mean, the older and grosser he looks, the more ghostly. You know?
I love it. But yeah, we're talking about Ghostbusters. It's so fun. It was written by Dan Aykroyd, who plays Ray Stantz, Harold Ramis, who plays Egon Spengler, and then we have Rick Moranis, legendary. He's uncredited as a writer, but apparently he did contribute as well a little bit. It was directed by Ivan Reitman, so that's really, really cool. And a little bit about the box office information. It was the #1 film in theaters for 7 consecutive weeks, and one of only 4 films to gross more than $100 million that year. And that's for 1984. That's a lot of money. Further theatrical releases have increased the total gross to around $295.2 million, making it one of the most successful comedy films of the 1980s.
Certified hit.
Certified hit. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
I think now this year is 40 years.
Going on 40 years.
40 years, yeah.
Oh my God, it's grown up.
It's double your age.
I know.
Gerald.
It's fine. We have a Ghostbusters commercial. They actually put it on their YouTube channel, which is really fun, but it's actually from the film, but it's about the double feature kind of, because they have a double feature DVD of 1 and 2. They actually did have a Ghostbusters hotline that was real that you could call during the, marketing of the film, and it was 555-2368. They were getting 1,000 calls per hour.
Wow.
Per hour. That's a lot of calls.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you, like, I work in a call center. I get like maybe 20 calls in like a 10 to 15, 10 hour day. Mm-hmm. Maybe like 20 calls. That's it. And then they were getting 1,000. Woo! That's a lot of calls.
I mean, I think Ghostbusters is like a part of the DNA of American culture, pop culture, I would say.
And it's New York. That's what you think of when you think of New York. Because you're like, oh, New York. That's really fun. They had like a legendary spot there too. So I'm just so excited about it because I need to go back to New York specifically for the cinema movie moments thing, because New York is one of those places that a lot of great movies, great TV shows, a lot of things are filmed. Mm-hmm. So I need to do like an extensive movie tour. It would make my heart very happy.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night?
Do you experience feelings of dread in your basement or attic?
Have you or any of your family ever seen a spook, specter, or ghost?
If the answer is yes, then don't wait another minute. Pick up your phone and call the professional. Go
Ghostbusters.
Our courteous and efficient staff is on call 24 hours a day to serve all your supernatural elimination needs.
We're ready to believe you.
Okay.
I know this is your episode, but I want to talk to you about a few things.
Okay, go for it.
First of all, I just want to get out of the way real quick a couple of my opinions. I know you love this movie, Jer.
Okay, you're probably about to hate on it, and I'm gonna cry.
I just want to. I want to have a little piece of my criticisms about it.
Okay. Well, good enough because we're kind of leading up to some criticisms, but it's okay. Go for it.
Okay. My biggest one ultimately being, you mentioned Venkman.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of problems with him.
Venkman as a character or Bill Murray playing Venkman?
Venkman as a character.
Okay.
He is creepy, sleazeball. He's a professor at university. He has a scene where he is trying to seduce one of his students. Later on, he does not get all there's a love interest in this movie that's for him, and she's not interested in him whatsoever. And when he visits her apartment, and she's like, no, I'm not into it. He's really pushy about staying here. It was very uncomfortable for me to watch. And I think there's elements about his character that are supposed to be charming in how much of an a-hole he is. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we've seen this in other things, like Harrison Ford in any movie that he's ever been in.
Fair.
As well as I can't think of another example, but there's characters that are like that. They're supposed to be a-holes, but they're charming or whatever. And to me, Venkman just came off as very insufferable. I just remembered, actually, I want to read out, because I know this movie is so beloved. People love this film so much, and nearly everybody's opinion of it is very positive, and I did enjoy the movie. Mm-hmm. I did enjoy it. I just have a problem with this one character, so I went online looking to see if other people felt similarly to me or if it was just me, and I found this Reddit post that said it in a very similar way, apt way, that how I felt. And this is what they said. They said, I watched Ghostbusters for the first time tonight, and Bill Murray's character was the worst part. He's such a sleazeball. He tries to have sex with college students half his age, is an annoying wannabe playboy, and half his jokes are annoying. At first, I thought it was intentional to make him an anti-hero type, but then the writers made Sigourney Weaver's character into him after he got famous, as if he was a lovable / quirky character. Oh, these two have zero chemistry, by the way, so it makes things even creepier. Not to mention that he kissed a quote-unquote possessed Weaver's chest after he drugged her, which was just weird. Murray acted drunk the whole time. And I can get behind the schlock of the film. The comedic tone and ridiculousness is the point, but Murray wasn't quirky funny. He was just annoying and creepy. And I read that and I felt very similar, even to his friends, like outside of how he treats women, but he's so antagonizing to the other Ghostbusters, and he doesn't seem like he cares about them. At least from this film. I've heard maybe it's different in future films. And that's my big criticism of the movie, is that I really have a hard time with Venkman. That being said, love Egon. I love Ray. Mm-hmm. I love Lewis. And especially after the first hour mark, like the movie just rolls.
And
for
Winston?
me. Winston's great too, but also not one of my favorites. I feel like he's very underutilized. Like he shows up halfway through the movie, and then they don't really do much with his character.
We'll talk about that because there is Ernie Hudson has some things to say about it, but.
I wanted to ask you. Those are my opinions about Venkman, and I know a lot of maybe it's my 2024 sensibilities and me watching it now in this year.
Well, yeah, 40 years later.
40 years later, so I know it was a different time, and some people might be hearing me and saying like, "Oh, you're being ridiculous," like it's just a movie or whatever. But it was really important to me for just to say my piece on that or whatever.
Okay.
That aside, I wanted to ask you, who's your favorite Ghostbuster?
My favorite Ghostbuster, it's probably Ray. I'd have to say Ray,
which is Dan Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd. I love Dan Aykroyd. He's one of my favorites. He's a very fun, lovable Saturday Night Live kind of guy. He was one of the writers of it. We'll talk about a little bit of his history before we delve into the plot and everything about the movie, because it's just there's so many wonderful things to talk about with the movie.
So why Ray? Why is Ray your favorite?
I don't know. I just think that first of all, he's a nerd. He's so passionate about it. I think that his love for finding ghosts and finding the meaning in it is just very admirable. I like it. But I really love the relationship between Egon and Ray, because they both they are the heart and the head of the operation, because they're both so smart. They are the driving force. Without them, I don't think we wouldn't even have the Ghostbusters, quite literally, because Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis were the writers. But I also think that it's just kind of strange because like you mentioned, there is not a lot of chemistry between Winston's character and Peter Venkman's character with the other Ghostbusters, in the sense that, well, first of all, Winston views it as a job. It's a paycheck, which is fine. Love it, because honestly, why would any of us have a job if they stop paying us today at our jobs? Are we going to continue to work there? Fuck no. It's a job. We got to get paid. We got to pay bills.
What do you think about my criticisms of Venkman's character?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Because mixed emotions on one hand, and my 2020, am I fucking lost in 2020? Is that why I just said that? So off
we're in the 2020s.
2020s. The roaring 20s again.
The roaring 20s.
In the 2024 year that we're in, I can absolutely understand those viewpoints, because I do have those criticisms myself that he is very creepy. But I like his endearing asshole qualities, because sometimes he brings the, I don't know, I feel like he brings some humor to it where it's not just so serious. Because sometimes, IRL, ghosts, and anything that is real like that can be really scary and heavy. So it does bring some lightheartedness to it, some playing, some poking fun. I don't necessarily think that he is super mean-spirited in a way. I do see some of the criticisms there. Some of the jokes don't land as well, but I do think that a majority of them do, because it's just funny. He's just a sarcastic asshole. And that could just be me, because I love sarcastic assholes. I'm dating a sarcastic asshole. I love my sarcastic asshole. So I don't know. I've always just loved that kind of dry, kind of asshole humor, just because I don't know. I've also been raised in this, we've all kind of poke fun at each other, kind of we all make fun of each other kind of thing. And I typically would always fall at the brunt of it, typically would be the easy target. So, I don't view it as mean-spirited, because it's just something that I grew up with.
Yeah,
and it seems like to me that they're friends, they're colleagues, they've worked together for years, so they continue to work together when they get fired.
So, I think that's probably true for a lot of people. I think, back in the 80s, things were just different. People talk to each other more that way, maybe. And that's why I, a person watching it in 2024, have those criticisms. But I'm sure nobody at the time was saying anything like that. I
don't think so. But also, I think that we also don't have... Then we didn't have the lens that we do now about the consent and the...
No means no.
Yeah.
And I think also, Frank and I had a detailed conversation with my parents, who, as we mentioned before, love these movies, grew up with these movies, essentially, were young adults with these movies. And they told us that Bill Murray was essentially just playing this character that was a constant character that he played when he was on SNL. So it was
Yeah.
almost like a continuation of a familiar character that people already associated Bill Murray with.
Yeah.
So I think that just made it easy for people to latch onto him, even though, in our opinions, maybe he was just a sleazeball or a very two-dimensional character.
I like this movie a lot, and like I said, it's my main criticism. It's pretty much my only criticism. It's just him. I didn't like him in the movie at all.
So I just think he's funny, but that's just also, I grew up loving Bill Murray. Of course, knowing more now that I've, like, as we grow up and, like, people have come out about some of the things that he's done or maybe said, which is absolutely not okay. I mean, I hope that he's changed in his older age. I don't know him personally, so I can't really critique all of the things, but I just think he's, legendary in the SNL space. So, of course, it's really cool to see the chemistry between these characters. I actually will say that I disagree with your criticism of Sigourney Weaver and Bill Murray's chemistry between Dana and Peter Venkman. I actually do see the chemistry there. I think that he's actually very enamored by her, and maybe she's that one that changes him as a whole, because in the later films, she's still around.
Okay.
So I think that they are good opposites, because they typically say that opposites attract, and I used to not agree with that sentiment. I was like, ew, no.
Maybe as we continue to watch these movies, maybe our opinions of Venkman are going to change, because Frank and I haven't seen the sequels at all, I don't think.
This is the first time I saw this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe our opinions will change, much like they did with Hoffman in the Saw franchise.
Oh my!
As we
that was a
continued watching those
complete
movies.
180.
Right. So maybe we'll do a complete 180 and we'll grow to really enjoy this character. But at least in just our first impressions of this first Ghostbusters movie, Venkman and Sigourney Weaver just did not really hit it off for us.
Yeah.
Didn't work for us.
I like some of the banter. I mean, when they are in the apartment together, they kind of go back and forth a little bit as he's exiting the door. And I think Bailey even said something along the line of like, oh, that would have been so fun if he wasn't such a creep up until this point.
I think
there was nothing to redeem him. There was nothing to
Yeah.
make him like actually somebody that I was rooting for. So since I didn't have that little slice of like positivity for his character, I was just like, okay, now he's just being creepy. Now he's just being creepy and I don't like it. Get out of this lady's apartment.
Well, ultimately, like, the beginning of this film starts with, Venkman being creepy with the students, where he's doing, like, he's conducting a psychological thing, and he's clearly abusing his power there.
Yeah.
Lying to this girl, making her think that she actually has psychic abilities, and, like, the guy's getting most of his answers right or something, and he's just, shocking him. It's disgusting, of course, a disgusting display of power of, man and, woman kind of thing. But it is also humorous in the way, because you're like, obviously, as a viewer, we know, like, oh my God, he's being such a dick right now. So,
It wasn't cute. It was just uncomfortable for me.
And that's okay. That's your opinion, and I'm not going to shit on you for that. I thought I just grew up watching this at a younger age, so I feel like in my lens now, it's not meant to come off that way. I know exactly what you're talking about because of our 2024 lens.
For sure.
But I don't think it's meant to come off that way, because, I mean, if you think about it, those men in Hollywood were doing that for years and years and years. They were being gross towards younger women. And to our knowledge, we don't know how old she is. She could be at least over 18. It still doesn't make it less creepy. But it, at least, I don't know. Words. At least it makes it kind of okay, I guess. And the fact that she hopefully can consent. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that though, because they don't talk about it enough to really formulate an opinion in my eyes. However, what I will say is that ultimately we don't know the real reason they got fired. We can only believe Venkman shit the bed somehow, and people found out that he was, abusing his powers. That's my knowledge. Is that I'm like, how else would they have gotten fired? There's nothing else wrong that the other guys could have done.
I just assumed, there's a part later on. They seem so excited about this first ghost, this library ghost, and how making contact with this ghost, that they work for a university, and I feel like the funding is drying out because they aren't producing results. They aren't getting anything. And first of all, I'm surprised. I don't know if our local college has some kind of ghost program.
That would be so cool, though. I would probably do it, but I'd also shit my pants.
I'm sure that we could convince them, honestly.
Maybe.
Do you think you could be like a ghost hunter, like a ghost detective?
Yes and no. I think that I would be I would have to wear like a heart monitor so people could watch me, and my heart would probably be like 200. That'd be my heart rate, 200 beats per minute.
You know, I
But-
have an uncle that's like a professional ghost hunter. I know that he's like written books about it.
Wow.
You know, we have some local history with ghosts
We
very
do.
near to us.
Yeah, we do.
A very prolific ghosts that live nearby to us. And
You don't want to
he's-
say the name.
No, I do not. I don't want to invoke
Here,
that.
I'll say
no,
the name.
don't say it, please.
Is
I
it
live
the
with
B
you.
Double,
Stop.
is the B? Is that one?
Yeah.
Bailey's very superstitious. She doesn't like any like.
I'm not trying to ruin any ghost day. I'm not trying to invoke their fury.
I
I
want
just want
to
them to have
invoke-
a
I
nice
also want to
afterlife.
invoke-
I
the
also want to
fury.
invoke, but specifically
Yeah.
because I want to know if I have powers, if I could like still hear or see things as I did when I was a child. I remember specifically seeing ghosts as a child, and it terrifying the lights out of me. Like I was like, yeah, have you ever been so scared that you try to go like call for your parents and then nothing comes out? You're like,
Oh wow, that is scary.
like nothing comes out of your
Mm-hmm.
okay. Like it happened to me like that several times. It was terrifying.
And what did your mom say when you told her?
They didn't believe me.
Really?
They didn't believe me at all. But then
Dang.
later,
Your mom
years
didn't believe
later,
you?
no. Well, my mom is very okay. Even though we're all into the spooky shit, she's very anti-ghost. She's like, She doesn't fuck with it.
Like
She doesn't
she's
fuck with
scared of it, or she doesn't believe in it?
I think both. I think both.
How can you be scared of it if you don't believe in it?
I think Patrick does that too. I'm like, hey, let's go to the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Let's go on ghost tours. Let's do it. And he's like, I'm like, you wouldn't go stay at Lizzie Borden's bed and breakfast with me? And he was
Yeah.
like, no. I was like, well, wouldn't it kind of be cool? Like what if low key, like we fucking die by a ghost? That'd kind of
Yeah.
be cool, wouldn't it?
No.
It would be cool.
So does he believe in ghosts?
I think he doesn't want to fuck with it,
Okay.
but I think that he low key is scared. He's a little scaredy.
Would you go to like an abandoned building
Yes.
and play with a Ouija board?
No. Sorry, that was a very visceral reaction. No.
The Ouija board's off limits.
No. I've seen The Exorcist. I know how it begins.
Oh, you're just a scaredy cat.
No, that's how it begins. I'm not fucking. That's invoking demons and shit. I ain't fucking with demons.
Okay.
Hey, demons. It's me, your boy.
How many times did you play Bloody Mary as a kid?
Never.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Actually,
Okay.
maybe once, but then I chickened out. I didn't finish it.
You guys didn't do that like float as a feather, fly as a bee thing or whatever?
Light as a feather, stiff
It's-
as a board.
Yeah.
I did try it because of The Craft. Grew up watching The Craft. It never worked.
Isn't it you're supposed to like lift it up with like a finger or two?
Well, you have a group of people
Yeah.
and they use like 2 fingers.
And it
didn't-
worked?
Never worked. Never worked.
You need a certain amount of people, yeah, for it to work.
Jalen didn't have enough friends.
That's rude. Anyway, moving on before we get further into Venkman, because we'll talk about him later again. So actually, before we got like Ernie Hudson as Winston, they were eyeballing Eddie Murphy.
Known for playing Donkey on Trek.
Also was notably in a film called Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd, a very funny comedy film with Eddie Murphy, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Dan Aykroyd. Very good 80s film. Fun. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. But ultimately, he didn't want to do it. We got Ernie Hudson. They really didn't. He wasn't really the ideal that they had in mind for Winston. But he had previously worked with Ivan Reitman. But he, eventually came on to the film. And we do have a video of him discussing his experience on the film because it kind of was in the 80s. And him being the only black Ghostbuster, it did pose some potential problems for him. But he wasn't even on the poster at some point.
Wow.
So it's kind of shitty. But I love Ernie Hudson. I wish nothing but the best for him. So I'm really glad we get to. He's obviously back in the film, so I'm sure they've made it up to him at some point.
Okay, everybody knows you as Winston from Ghostbusters.
Yes.
So you and Howard have this connection to Ivan Reitman. Ivan was the producer on Howard's movie Private Parts.
First of all, let me say Ivan was really, really a brilliant man, and I have so much just love and appreciation for him.
Does Ghostbusters mean to you what we think it means to you?
Well, I don't know what you think it means, but...
like the biggest role of your life,
No, it doesn't, none of that. They were doing Ghostbusters, and the movie was being made by a lot of people who were really successful. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis. They had already made a number of movies. And I was the guy who was brought in. And so finding my place in the middle of that, and they were all welcoming, and inclusive. The studio wasn't. And the studio continued not to be. So it made it very, very difficult because I was a part of, but then very selectively I was sort of pushed aside. You know, when the posters came out, I'm not on the poster. When it took a long time. I went to the 30th anniversary release of the movie, and I was invited to a theater in Chicago to introduce the movie, and I get there, and all the posters are 3 guys. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, you know. Now, I know the fans see it differently, and I'm so thankful for the fans because the fans have basically identified with Winston, you know, especially young, you know, I don't say minority kids, but a lot of kids, you know, just whatever, real. You know. So it took a long time for the studio, and even now, you know, we're negotiating a new movie that's gearing up to start shooting in March, and I'm like, guys, you know, there's a place that I'm not an add-on, and so if I'm going to do it, it has to make sense, you know.
Yeah.
When you start out in the business, I was always told it's almost impossible to succeed. But if you get in a major movie from a major studio and it comes out and it opens #1, it'll change your career. Well, Ghostbusters didn't do any of that for me. You know, I was working pretty nonstop. I did Ghostbusters, and it was 2.5 years before I got another movie. So, but it was an important movie, a big movie, and I'm so thankful to be a part of the franchise. But it wasn't an easy road. In fact, Ghostbusters, I would say it was probably the most difficult movie I ever did, just from the psychological perspective.
Yeah.
You know,
everything you were dealing with.
The original script, Winston was in the very beginning of the movie. By the time we got ready to shoot the movie, Winston came in halfway through the movie. So it was like all those things.
It felt deliberate, right?
Yeah, it definitely felt deliberate. And I'm still not trying to take it personal because, you know, I'm sure you know, anything bad, if you're African-American and in this country, anything bad happens to you, you can always blame it on, because I'm black, bad
100%.
happens. You know what I mean? You cut in front of me because so you don't want to go there. That's the last thing you want to
But sometimes you just know.
Sometimes
you can't explain it. I tell people all the time, I'm like, even if I can't explain it to you, I just know it's because I'm black.
Yeah,
I just know. Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, and when it shows up, I'm wait a minute, I'm getting this and they're getting that, and it's not because, come on.
Yeah.
So I got nothing bad to say about anybody, but it was hard, and it was hard for a long time. It took me probably 10 years anyway, to finally get sort of past that and just embrace the movie and enjoy the movie. It was very hard. Ghostbusters was really hard to make to make peace with.
Do you believe in UFOs, astral projections, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography, telekinetic movement, full trance mediums, the Loch Ness Monster, and the theory of Atlantis?
If there's a steady paycheck in it, I'll believe anything you say.
Love it. It's iconic.
Yeah. The secretaries are also so funny. Her accent is so funny.
Who doesn't love Janine?
See, I think there's more chemistry between Janine and Egon than there ever is between Venkman and Sigourney Weaver.
I agree.
Personally.
Yes. I love their chemistry, and you would think that they'd end up together, but...
They don't?
In my heart.
In your heart, they do.
In my heart, they're together. There's that scene towards, like, the end of the movie when they're trying to shut down the grid or whatever. Mm-hmm. Igor.
I mean,
Egon and her are very close
Igor.
together. They're very physically actually close.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm projecting. I love them. I'm sorry.
I like them together. It's really funny. The first time you see them have an intimate moment together,
he's under the desk.
He's under the desk of the secretary. He just comes out of nowhere.
It feels very sexual, and it's hilarious because you're like, whoa.
Yeah, and then
it's a role reversal.
Yeah, and I think it's hilarious, not only because of that, because he's just fixing the desk or something, anything underneath it.
Yeah.
And then she's like hitting on him the whole time. She hits on him all the time.
Yeah. And she says, like, what are you into? And he's like,
oh,
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
I love him so much.
Who's your favorite Ghostbuster, Bailey?
Egon. 100% Egon.
What I do like about Egon is he has another line towards the end of the movie is he is Ration the character, Logic the character.
Oh yeah.
He has this point at the end. There's a part on the roof where Venkman says, "Okay, well, Ray's obviously out of it. Egon, what do you got?" And Egon's like, "I'm sorry, but like, what is it?
Something about this is like beyond my rational thinking. Something
Yeah,
along
I'm
that.
scared beyond rational thinking. Like my fear has expanded beyond this.
So
And he
funny.
says it such straight. He says it so straight. Instead of like screaming and being scared, he's like, I cannot have rational thought right now.
It is hilarious. I just love it because, like, quite literally, he is the head of the operation. Ray is the heart of the operation. They say that Venkman's the mouth of the operation because, you know, he runs his mouth too much, which he does. And I don't even, I mean, how does Winston fit into that to me? I think that he's another extension of the heart. I feel like he also is part of the heart. I mean, or he would even be the soul, I would say. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's quite literally because, I don't know, he is very spiritual in the sense too.
Yeah,
he comes from it with a very theological aspect that nobody else brings, because he is more of a spiritual believer in God and Christianity, which is fine, whatever. I mean, sometimes you kind of have to believe in that shit in order to also do the paralleling with the spiritual aspect.
I did like how it intermixed with the narrative of the film and his conversation with Ray in the car.
Yes, I love it. I love it because not only that, but I mean, I think that him actually seeing this stuff makes him believe in his stuff even more.
Oh yeah, for
which
sure.
is really, really cool. And I don't have a criticism of that because, you know, I think that that's also, I don't know, it's a very lovable, like, quirk of his character as well, being somebody who was like, I'll believe anything as long as I get a steady paycheck. But then towards the end, he's like, I love this city.
So here's another reason why I like his character. He has an arc.
Yeah, he
to
does
his
have
character
an arc.
from believer to non-believer to believer. While I think nobody else in this movie has an arc.
Nobody does.
Like Venkman is the same character he is at the beginning than he is at the end, and so is Ray and Egon. But at least for me, they're lovable characters. Venkman starts an a-hole, he ends an a-hole, but Ernie Hudson's character has a genuine like arc where he like transforms as a character. So I really like that about him.
He's still lovable. Obviously, he's still in the other films. I hate the way that he was treated by the studio. Of course, I mean, you would hope that the people who were around him would be advocates for him and be like, no, put him on the fucking poster. I think had this movie been made today, I think that perhaps those actors and actresses would have advocated for each other a little bit better. You'd hope. But I just hate that 40 years ago, that was okay. That was the normal.
Yeah.
And so him being the only black character, the only minority character in this film is very, very annoying.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's
Justice for Ernie Hudson.
Absolutely. He's number one. I mean, he's great.
Yeah.
He also, I mean, like, he'll post like little videos. He has like merchandise that he'll wear.
Cool.
He's cute.
That's
I love
fun.
him to death. I love him. He's just perfect. Protect Ernie Hudson at all costs.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying to you. So originally, Dan Aykroyd he wrote this with the idea that John Belushi would star alongside him. However, unfortunately, John Belushi passed away in 1982. This film was released in 1984.
Do you know how he passed away?
It was drugs. It's unfortunate because I think in the Robin Williams documentary as well, because they were all like on SNL together and stuff, you know, it's always, you know, these people who appear to be outwardly so happy as well. I mean, I feel like that's the stereotype for people who, you know, are hurting a lot psychologically is that they're all sad and depressy on the outside, but some of those people suffer in silence a lot of the time too.
Yeah.
And it's
I also think, you know, as somebody who has a large interest in comedy, that there is a lot of tragedy in comedy, and a lot of the humor comes from being a person who's been in pain and been hurt.
I mean, if you're able to laugh at yourself and you're able to laugh at the like traumatic things that have happened to you, I think that, like, I don't know, you're able to, I don't know, it's different. But I mean, a lot of the people, I mean, one of my favorite comedians right now is Taylor Tomlinson. I love her stand-up because she talks about mental health. There's not a lot of people out there who are doing that, and I think it's fantastic. And she's like, she makes jokes about her mental health, makes jokes about being on meds, going to therapy, all the things. And I'm like, yes, girl, I relate, love it, I love it. Because not only are you like destigmatizing it by doing that, but I think that, you know, being up there is and a lot of these people like to talk about like embarrassing moments, humiliating moments. So I think that's also kind of they are opposites of each other. The you know, the drama masks, you know, you have the comedy and the tragedy. So they go hand in hand.
Or the idea of a sad clown.
You can't really have one without the other, I think, personally. But Slimer was also based on John Belushi, R.I.P., a very sad situation. A lot of those people back in the day were doing hard drugs, and were really sad. They would overdose. Chris Farley, we lost so many greats because of like their sadness and their inability to cope.
This is the first film I've ever seen Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis. This is the first Rick Moranis movie I've ever seen. This is the first.
You haven't seen Little Shop of Horrors?
Never.
I was telling him we have to watch Little Shop of Horrors as a dead end episode. Like we have to contractually. God. Because I love that movie and I haven't seen it in probably like 15 or 20 years.
This is the first Bill Murray film I've ever seen.
What?
And that being said, I really enjoyed it. But I have heard that they have been on SNL before.
Yes.
And that they were all friends with each other, part of the same team. And the only thing I've ever seen John Belushi in before is from an SNL skit about burgers.
Yes, cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's one of my favorite skits. And
so funny.
Cheeseburger.
So rest in peace, very funny man.
I mean, honestly, SNL, people criticize it now. I think it's still just as fun. It's still just as funny as ever to me. But those are like the peak years, honestly. Those are some really good years.
I don't know. Skirt. Really, it lives in my head.
True. Patrick loves that skit.
Yeah. You never loved me, Mom. I love that one.
Like, there's so many years. SNL always gets criticized, no matter what.
Always.
Then, like, 10 years later, it's like, oh, man, Adam Sandberg, that era was so good. But at the time, everybody's crapping on it.
All of the eras are so good. They all have so many good things to add. And I think it's just so funny. Like, honestly, I love it. It's really, really good. But I also loved that era of, SNL because, I mean, I don't know, some of the greats, like, like Steve Martin and stuff like that. Oh.
Yeah, sure. But then 20 years later, you get, like, Adam Sandler and,
True, Adam Sandler.
And Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey at some point, right?
He was on In Living Color. I don't know that he was on SNL.
Damn it.
I think he may have done...
Then I must just remember him in skits.
He did. I mean, In Living Color was a sketch comedy show too, but it was primarily a black audience. It was a fantastic show. I grew up watching that because of my dad. Oh my God. Like, my dad would do the thing that Jim Carrey would do because he had like this like weird like cop skit, and like he would like rub his teeth kind of thing, and like would take his top lip and like tuck it in. It was creepy and weird. Ugh. So good though. And I also like loved Mad TV growing up. So I mean, I don't know. Comedy's just always kind of been around. Like, we've always, if you didn't watch comedy back in the day, I just don't feel like you have a real good appreciation for it, because I feel like it's being criticized a lot now, but I think it's in a good way, because it is a good criticism, because I think that if your way of being funny is to bring people down, that's not really good comedy to me. But R.I.P. John Belushi, Robin Williams, all of these, greats. It just makes me think of, how sad it is. Back to your favorite person. Bill Murray ad-libbed a lot in this film. I think that he's funny. I really, really do. I think that I understand the criticism there. I do think that him and Dana do have chemistry, and that might be a hot take there. I stand by it, though, because I think that he's kind of like a nuisance, and I think it's almost like this enemies to lovers trope, but not quite enemies to lovers. It's more so like the guy that you're like, oh, I would never, oh, you're annoying, I hate you.
Sleazeballs to lovers. Yeah.
Now,
sure.
I will say I have heard that story a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard couples
I would
like
never, and then you're like, oh my god.
You with Hoffman, yes.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about Bill Murray. Somebody else who I really enjoy was Rick Moranis. This is the first time I've ever seen him in anything.
Oh, he's fantastic.
God, he for me, he operated on a completely like higher level where like it almost felt like to me that he wasn't reading a script, that he like came up with his own parts.
I'm sure
came up
he
with
is.
his own
just
character.
Rick Moranis in this movie. Yeah,
I think he ad-libbed the salmon part. Like,
hilarious.
He's so goofy. I love him, but. I think that if you love him in this, you're going to love him in any of his filmography.
Okay, I'm excited.
He, unfortunately, like, he has a really, really sad story, too. His wife eventually passed away of cancer, so he became, like, a really stand-up dad, like, a really stand-up guy. He took care of his children, so that's why he stopped acting forever. And I hope that he'll come back in any of the future Ghostbusters films. I haven't seen him in any of the new things. He wasn't in Ghostbusters Afterlife, so I'll go ahead and spoil that. He wasn't in there. It's not really much of a spoiler, because like there's still so many things that you don't know about yet. Just wait. But anyway, I haven't seen him in trailers for the new one, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I hope that he does come back because he was a lovable character and Louis Tully was fantastic. This is not going to be the only film that he's in, though.
I love the dialogue, and as soon as he gets possessed too, oh my god, he's hilarious.
He's so funny, so physical. Like his comedy is just so physical. He's just such a goofy guy, and I love that. Like his little voice that he does, like he's just he's just so goofy. I love him. If you love him in this, I swear to God, you're gonna love him in
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it.
Also, he's talented. He's so fucking talented. He's got a great singing voice. Fantastic singing voice.
Also, I don't know if you know, but he's in Spaceballs too.
Oh my
God,
God,
movie
yes.
that you say that you hate. But
I've never
As
seen
you can
it.
But
see,
you've
my
never
Schwartz
seen
is
it,
bigger
yeah.
than yours. You've never seen Spaceballs?
We've been
No.
jammed.
I didn't grow up with American media.
Hello. That's a different look for you, isn't it?
Are you the keymaster?
Not that I know of.
I love that scene because then she opens the door like because she's possessed, and then she's like, "Are you the keymaster again?" And he goes, "Yes, I am." I just think it's funny. It's goofy to me. It's goofy comedy.
I gotta say, one of my favorite parts about the film is the whole keymaster gatekeeper.
Isn't that funny? Gatekeep, girl boss, all of the things. It's just that's where the term came from. We're gonna coin that. Yeah, that's where it came from. No, I think it's hilarious, and it's also really, really funny and ironic that Louis Tully, played by Rick Moranis, is the keymaster.
Yeah.
He gets possessed. He's the keymaster.
I
He gets
love it.
locked out all the time.
Yeah, that's funny. Ironic. I love the part where he does come into the room finally and say, "I am the keymaster." It's so because he comes out and he has his arms out, and it's so funny.
Okay, I have a little pop figure of him with like the little helmet
Yeah,
on.
I see that. Yeah.
Oh my! I wish I had that helmet. I would love that helmet because it's just so funny to me. But I just love that he's just, I don't know, he's just so goofy.
He's goofy.
He's just so goofy. He's such a goofy guy, and he's just eating pizza and stuff. And I just love Janine, who's like, "There's something wrong with him." Like, no shit. He's
That
possessed.
scene where he's just copying them, like pointing at each other, that killed me.
Or just
I
handing
really
them
liked
things.
It. Yeah, it was so good.
That's just so stupid, but I love it. It's just like, it's not even like overtly like hilarious. Like, I think that a lot of comedy films now, they have to be a little bit more on, I mean, yes, it has crude moments, but I just feel like that comedy films now are a little bit more.
They tried to be more thinky with their comedy and less feely, I think.
And this one is just so, it's not only just physical comedy, but it's just like dorky comedy, and I love it. I just love it. I think it's really funny. I think that this movie also went on to inspire fun little things, and like Family Guy, they made fun of it before. The first Casper film with Christina Ricci, they had Dan Aykroyd do an appearance as a Ghostbuster.
That's cool.
And he came out like running out, and like, they were like, "Oh yeah, we need you to go like Ghostbust kind of thing." And he goes like, "Who are you gonna call?" "Somebody else." And I thought that was so funny because it's
That's
like
cool.
that's so iconic that you're just gonna do cameos as a Ghostbuster in other movies.
This is so when I watch one of the classics like this, I'm so excited because it's like I'm gonna understand the references now. Yeah. I've never seen Casper, but now whenever I do watch it, I'll know
my
the.
God.
Oh, maybe we can watch that too. It's not a horror movie, but maybe we can make an
It's
exception.
such a good kid movie.
I loved the original Casper movie.
As a child, though, Casper was fucking hot.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay,
yeah,
I
we
don't
don't
know
have,
what
no,
you
don't
guys are
worry.
on now.
You don't know. You
No,
don't
you don't-
understand the concept. You
You're
don't
gonna
understand the
when you watch
context.
it, you're gonna be like, "Damn,
Is
Casper's hot."
Casper. Maybe I'm thinking of a different thing.
He is a boy at some point. He shows up
No,
as a boy.
don't spoil him. You'll get context when we watch the movie. Okay.
I'm not saying his big little
like 6-year-old me thought he was really cute, and you'll see why.
If you say so.
I mean,
know.
I don't know. I have a weird because I also thought David Bowie is the
Obviously,
Goblin King.
That
in the
makes
labyrinth.
way more sense.
Have you seen him in the labyrinth? Obviously.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, he's an awakening for very many
Casper in
people.
my head is like a toddler.
Yes, we're aware. I'm telling you, it's different. You'll see.
Yeah,
you
you'll
will
see.
get context.
And he's like a bald ghost.
Okay,
Yes,
we're not
you're
saying him as a
correct.
bald ghost is hot, weirdo.
Okay.
Dan Aykroyd, by the way, speaking of him making a cameo in Casper, his family history inspired him to write this film. He actually comes from a family of Ghostbusters.
Oh, really? Wow.
Paranormal investigators. His great-grandfather and his father wrote books and shit. Isn't that cool? That's cool as fuck.
That's dope.
Why? That's so funny.
Yeah. I want to go ghost hunting.
You would think that his family would be a little insulted that he like made a movie like kind of, I don't know, satirizing it a little bit, but no. They're like, that's really cool.
That's what you do, right? You draw from your history. Like he made a movie about ghosts. Maybe you would make a movie about like butter churning.
What?
Or farming. Milking cows.
A farmer's daughter. No. I would never.
Can you sing the lyrics?
Like, not me. The name of the movie was almost Ghost Smashers. Ghostbusters is clearly much better.
Ghostbusters so much better. I want one of the outfits so bad.
It's got such a legendary theme song. Who doesn't know Ghostbusters, the theme song by Ray Parker Jr.?
I've definitely heard the song a lot more than I've ever seen the movie. The first time I ever saw the movie, the song is a banger.
No matter how many times I hear it, I'm like, just breaking it down.
Such a good song.
Such a great song. And here's a little clip about some of the history of him in the song.
Gotta be one of the most iconic movie theme songs of all time. Ghostbusters, Grammy Award winner Ray Parker Jr.
And Ray's going to treat us to a flashback Friday performance of the original song in a moment. But first, we want to catch up with Ray and director Paul Feig as his Ghostbusters reboot is set for release DVD October 11th. Hey guys, good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having us on.
We got fans in the building. We got your super fan here.
Fifth Ghostbuster.
That's me. That's it. This has got to be so exciting. I mean, the idea. First of all, I mean, it's like this song has never gone away.
Oh. Well, it's the greatest song ever written, I would dare say.
In fact, it's a reason to probably do the movies.
No, totally. We just made the movie to have something to put the song into.
Ray, do you ever get tired of doing the song?
No.
Good. Good.
It's like you ever get tired of holding a lotto ticket. It's not that bad.
I love it. What's the backstory behind the lyrics of the song that we all know, Committed To?
You know what? It's the strangest thing. I wrote the music. I only had a few days to write the music. But I wrote the lyrics in like 15 minutes. The messenger was standing outside the door. I had absolutely nothing. And I never even put headphones on. I had a U87 mic, and I just started singing while I was laying against the door so the guy couldn't open the door and find out that I didn't have nothing done.
Sounds like a siege was going
on. So I just kind of, now they call it freestyle. So I just kind of freestyled the whole thing, and that was it.
Wow.
You didn't know that, Paul?
I did not know that. There's always something new.
But what was interesting is Ivan Reitman called me like 3 in the morning, and I was dead asleep. And he says, I like the way you said, I'm not afraid of no ghosts. But you said, what do you say? I said, no, it's I ain't afraid of no ghosts. He says, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Now, he's a Jewish guy from Montreal. So he was trying to say it. He said, whatever it is, I like that. And I'm like, what's he talking about? I don't even remember what he's talking about. I had to go back and listen to it the next morning.
Wow. Isn't that so fun?
Yeah.
15 minutes. And it's so iconic.
Cool. Have you seen it?
Oh, the one that they did back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the all-woman Ghostbusters. And I will let you know that is a controversial film that we'll get to.
Excited to talk about it.
Which is really funny because it's still part of the franchise. I love it. It's a separate film, of course, though. It's not included in like the storyline. It's just a separate film, but it's fun. I love it. It's fucking hilarious. You are all gonna love it. I bet you both are gonna love it.
We'll see.
It's also got women from Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. So again, pulling from Saturday Night Live. It's perfect. It's people are just fucking haters. I'm one of the true fans who says I love it.
True fan.
I'm a true fan because I love it. Because I'm not a fucking hater. I don't hate women. That's weird. That's weird behavior.
We're not women haters.
We're not women haters. We're women lovers.
Yeah.
So special effects. They use claymation. They used some CGI a little bit back in the day because there wasn't a lot of the digital effects, but they used some of it. This is one of the biggest productions of its time.
Oh.
It was really, really huge. Dan Aykroyd, there's a lot of special features that I'll definitely have to link because there's just too many to count. But I'll have to link some special features regarding that because they said that they literally had the construction crews and the production crews like working so hard. And he was so hopeful. And they literally built that, like, the top of that, that scene where they have, like, the staircase and everything. They built that whole scene.
I did think that line was funny. Where, like, where do these stairs go? They go up, Ray. That's funny.
I just love it. They're all smartasses in their own way, and I love it. It's perfect.
Yeah, the like I said earlier, the animation for like the ray beams was so cool to see. Like, I think they were rotoscoped actually. The
I think they had light bulbs. So they had light bulbs, and I think that they do talk about it a little bit in this behind the scenes clip that I'll show.
The original Ghostbusters film is now 36 years old, and by today's standards, its visual effects aren't brilliant, but the Ghostbusters come from a time before CGI and digital effects. It comes from a time of camera tricks, optical illusions, and physical effects that relied more on ingenuity than computer engineers. The classic film was a comedy written by Dan Aykroyd, and although funny, it received more praise for its special effects than for its humor. In this breakdown, we're going to look at how some of its most memorable scenes were made. The ghosts were mainly puppets, some of which, like the ghostly librarian, were done by making a body mold of the actress playing the librarian to make an animatronic double, which was then rigged with cables to allow the face to move, the mouth to open, and the jaw to unhinge. All this was controlled by just one person. Ghosts or spectres that weren't puppets had to be animated in frame by frame, so 1 second of footage took approximately 3 weeks to complete. Possibly everyone's favourite ghost, Slimer was actually a puppet made from 1-inch foam latex that was worn by puppeteer Mark Wilson. The puppeteer was dressed in black and was filmed with a black backdrop, so they would disappear when later combined with the location photography. Slimer's facial expressions were controlled by cables operated by off-screen puppeteers, meaning that Slimer had to stay in a fixed position when being recorded. The team overcame this by sitting the camera up on a dolly and moving it towards Slimer, making it look as if Slimer moved towards the camera. Supposedly over 110 foot tall, the Marshmallow Man was just a man in a suit, a very expensive suit, costing around $30,000. It was made from a foam that was possibly toxic. Gotta love the 80s. So the puppeteer had to be supplied with air. Finding toy cars the right scale was difficult, so the team bought about 100 of the same model and painted and adapted them to suit. In one part they used a remote control car to crash into a fire hydrant, and the water from the hydrant was actually sand, because water doesn't actually look right when scaled down. The neutrino wands had a light bulb on the end of them, which was powered by batteries in the proton packs on the actors' backs. These bulbs were there so the animators had a point of origin for the light stream, which they created by combining a series of explosions which were filmed offset with classic animation to achieve a rubberized light effect. There were also a variety of different backpacks. The ones with batteries weighed 30 pounds. Lighter ones without batteries were used when the actors didn't need to shoot the neutrino ones, and there were even some rubber backpacks for the stunt scenes.
That was awesome.
Right?
That's so cool.
I love it. I love the special effects stuff. It's so cool.
And especially the way they did it back then, you know?
Yeah.
All of that stuff would have been CGI'd now.
Oh yeah, I mean 1000% is CGI now. I mean, they are bringing back some of the more practical effects, which I appreciate. I'm very curious to see how much of the new one will be practical. I hope that more of it is, because I can't talk about it because it's gonna be a spoiler. So I have to cut my because if I say too much, then I will spoil things for people at home and for you guys. Because I'm a trailer watcher. I watch trailers because I hate myself and I like to watch things.
I just don't want to get spoiled.
I like it. I like to know kind of like what I'm going into a little bit. I'm like, fun. It entices me more to see it if I see a trailer.
Fair enough. I like going in blind.
I don't know why. I just have to know things, just like a moderate kind of like synopsis. I'm like, okay, cool.
Fair enough.
However, you slap Ghostbusters on anything and I would have seen it no matter what. So yeah, stay puffed. Obviously, I think it's a little disappointing that they didn't make a huge one, but I understand why, because money. But he's so freaking cute. It's kind of bad that it was like all toxic kind of materials, but like...
Yeah, you know, when I first got to meet you, I would always wonder, like, man, Geraldine must love Pillsbury bakery products, because she has them everywhere. Like, I would watch your stream and you'd have the Pillsbury Doughboy everywhere. I'd be like, what's going on? She loves croissants.
I do love croissants though.
Croissant.
Trust. But no. I also do love the Pillsbury Doughboy because he's really cute, because if you touch his little tummy, he's like, hee hee hee. And I just think that's cute. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe one day you'll get a little bit of Pillsbury Doughboy merch too.
I actually would love Pillsbury Doughboy.
It'd be cool to see him show up in a movie. Maybe they fight each other, right?
Could you imagine though? They could probably do that now. They probably could have the money to get the rights to do it.
Yeah.
That would be funny. What do you think about Slimer? His little butt. Did you see his butt in the video too?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I don't like it.
He's got a little Slimer butt.
Slimer.
He looks like a booger, but I love him.
He does look like a booger. I never thought about that.
He's kind of a booger anyway, though.
I do think that it's cool that it's based off John Belushi. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that is cool. It's kind of a nice little tribute. I love, you know what's really funny is I have this pop figure that he's in the front and he's got little, I never knew what was in his fucking mouth. It's been a while since I've watched the original movie. And then when I was watching it with Patrick the other day, I was like, oh, that's my Pop. He's got a bunch of hot dogs in his mouth. And I didn't realize it. And I was like, what the hell is in his mouth? I never like remembered what was in his mouth. I knew it was food or something. I was like, what is in his mouth?
Seeing all the ghosts is so cool. And that's another minor criticism I have about the movies. I feel like you don't see a lot of the ghosts, actually. Like, you get a couple of long scenes of Slimer, and then obviously the end of the movie with the big Stay Puft. But all the other stuff is like montage, super short scenes, and like when he pops out of the hot dog stand, or like when you see one go through like the exhaust pipe of the taxi. I think that's so cool.
And he's the taxi driver.
I wish I saw more of that. I wish I would have loved to see more of the ghosts.
I agree. I do understand your criticism there. I do. Because, I mean, it should be more about the ghosts, per se.
Yeah. But yeah, those scenes were super cool to see. And I was wondering while I was watching, how did they do this?
I think that is, so while that is a big part of the movies, it's been a while since I've like revisited them. And so even the newest one, Afterlife, it's been a while since I've revisited any of them. And to my, like, in my brain, I don't think that there's a lot of ghosts in any of them, if I'm being honest.
Interesting. Okay.
I think that it's more so like the heart and like the plot that drives it towards like, because there's usually like some big boss in every film. Like there's some reason, you know. The next one, I wonder how you guys are gonna react. I think it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad sequel.
I like how you're prefacing it with that, because like I've never seen it, but I have heard some people say that like, oh, like the first one's the only good one. That's what you think.
It's not as good, but I think it's not bad. It's not a bad sequel. It's just a little underwhelming, but I still think it's good. I still like it a lot. Like it has a lot of rewatch value. I still rewatch it for funsies. Okay. Like I would watch it 1,000,000 times along with the first one. Like
I'm really excited to watch it.
It's not as bad as people will make it out to be, for sure.
Yeah, because it is a controversial one, right?
No, not as much as the women.
I just mean about like people liking it. Like it's a divisive on like people who like it, people who dislike it.
I think it's still well received, I would say. I know that people were kind of like, another Ghostbusters, why are we getting more of them, for a while, especially with Afterlife. And I will admit, I was kind of like, I wonder what this is going to be about, because if it doesn't have any of the original Ghostbusters, why?
Well, I mean, you do say that often, like, why are they making a new one?
Well, because reboots and remakes are just like everywhere, you know?
Yeah. And
sometimes they're good, I will admit. Like, I will say at least 75% of them are really good. 25% of them need to stop. But also, I kind of like a bad movie every so often.
I love a bad movie.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's definitely fun. But Slimer, I love him. He's a cute little booger. He likes to eat everything. I relate to him. I like to eat everything.
Oh yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's
always eating.
He be eating, and then he slimed on people.
Would you like to get slimed?
No.
Okay.
However, back in the day, they did come out with Ecto Cooler.
This summer, coming to a supermarket near you, there's going to be a great new high-C flavor with an outrageous fruit taste. And what are we going to call it? Ecto Cooler. High-C Ecto Cooler. Slimer's new fruit drink. You've been warned.
I think it was sort of like a high C or a Kool-Aid kind of drink. It was green, like Slimer. And I believe they have like recipes for it. And they actually make it in the bear.
I didn't like, there's a scene where like they have to collect ectoplasm in the library. Mm-hmm. And it's just this ooze that's on all the cards or whatever. And it looks very nasty.
It does look very nasty. And it also looks very sticky and gross. And what's really funny is I was watching this with Patrick and I was like watching his face. Because I'm really bad about this. Whenever I'm watching something and I'm experiencing something with someone and I've already experienced it. Like you're watching the movie with me, I'm probably going to be like this a lot of the time.
You want to see the reaction?
I have to make sure you're enjoying it as much as I want you to enjoy it. Otherwise, I don't want to watch it.
What about with Patrick? Does that happen often?
Yeah. Sometimes he'll be like... Or he'll say something like smart, and I'm like, "Shut up and watch it." Like, we'll get to it when we talk about a different franchise later in the year. But he does it a lot, and I'm like, "Shut up! You're ruining it." And I'm like, "It's a movie. It's not real." Like he has like I'm the one who wrote it or something.
Yeah. You're like, why does this happen? Like,
yes. And I can't stand that because I'm like, just watch. It's fun. It's a fun movie. Just watch it. Sorry.
What a hypocrite.
I got a little heated thinking about it.
Okay.
We get into arguments about it sometimes.
Some
The library
PTSD.
ghost. How fucking cool is that? She's like all sweet and innocent, sweet little old lady. Then she's like, bleh.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
It's cool.
It's
not cool.
Did any of the parts freak you out? Like, you know.
I don't know. I don't think did I get scared during this movie, Bailey?
No, not that I remember.
Okay.
I'm proud of you. I mean, it's also not that scary. It's more so like a horror comedy. Not even like, I mean, it is in the horror family. It's, you know, supernatural,
For sure.
ghosties, but
Yeah,
it's not.
supernatural.
There's a huge umbrella. I definitely think it leans more towards family friendly. Apart from the sexual
stuff.
innuendos that I was not aware of when I was a child, like the ghost blowjob.
Oh yeah, I remember
Isn't that
that.
hilarious though?
I don't know about hilarious, but
When
it
he
was
has
strange.
a dream, like a weird fantasy of it. It's like, Ray, you nasty dog.
Oh, that was a dream?
Yeah, it was a dream.
I didn't get that through the movie at all.
So I'm questioning whether you're actually watching it now.
I did. Did you get that, Bailey? That it was a dream?
So Franklin did legitimately watch the movie. I went in and out.
Okay.
I don't
But
know
you
why.
saw the scene.
What?
Where
Can you
Ray's
remind
pants
me?
started getting...
Oh yeah, I did see that scene. That made me uncomfortable.
Geraldine says it was a dream sequence.
I don't think it was a dream.
It was a
Bestie.
dream.
I don't think so.
It was. I promise it was, because they were all like in their beds and he was like rolling over and stuff, and then they fell, and then that's like when they got called to do another job. So it was a dream.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I promise. I feel like it would be a fantasy. I don't think it would actually happen. Ghosties don't be doing that. However, I do. I know they joked about that
I
in
mean,
one
they
of
do
the
it with
scary
the
movies.
keymaster and the gatekeeper. So
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. You have to have a key to
Yeah,
open
you got
a gate.
Key, and then you got to put it in the gate.
Stop. We get the visual. I wasn't gonna do that though. Trying to keep it semi-family friendly.
Potty mouth over here.
PG.
Meanwhile, you just said
Jackie.
ghost blowjob like 5 times, but
And then, of course, we have the really cool gargoyles on top of the building. First of all, why don't we have more gargoyles? They're cool.
Like here in town?
Architecturally, yeah, they're very cool.
What do you want them on the side of a Michael's cookout?
No, on like a building. It's like it's cool.
Well, that's
It's
what
a
we have
cool-
here. Michael's a cookout.
You know, when they designed that building,
There was a cartoon growing up about gargoyles that I
Yes.
really liked.
we
was a
talked
good
about that
show.
before.
That was a really good
Oh,
show.
really?
We did talk about that before. So anyway, Zool, Gozer, Keymaster, Gatekeeper. What do you think about all of it? It's so cool, right?
It's just fun and
just
funny.
fun. It is funny. And I love that, you know, I don't know, I love this iconic look for Dana as the gatekeeper.
I didn't know it was Sigourney Weaver. Like at the end of the movie, I was like, "Oh, that was Sigourney Weaver."
You didn't.
Okay, to be fair, at the end of the movie, he was like, "Oh my God, that was Bill Hader." Oh my God, or not? Who did I just say? Sorry,
Bill Hader.
Bill Murray. He's like, "Oh my God, that was Dan Aykroyd." Oh my God, that was Harold Ramis. Oh my God, that was Sigourney Weaver. Like he was.
Yeah, I went
saying
throughout
that for,
the
like,
whole movie
everybody.
not knowing that that's who played these characters in the movie.
How do you go through life?
I don't know. I got immigrant parents. I don't know what to
One
tell
of
you.
the coolest scenes to date in this film that I forgot about until we rewatched it was when Dana gets possessed. That legendary scene where Dana's home, you know, getting ready, and she's like, "I have a date later, Mom, blah blah blah," and then she like hangs up the phone. And she's just sitting back, and then in the corner, the light from her like I don't know, closet or kitchen, whatever it is, and then the creepy like hands coming out of the chair.
Yeah.
That was so creepy.
It was. Bailey says there was a lot of sexual tension in that scene.
In my opinion,
I mean, one of them literally was right there on her chest. It wasn't
and
quite.
one of them
and
came
one
from
was
her
between her.
crotch.
Yeah, one was between her legs.
kind
yeah.
of, but it wasn't quite like, you know, like Evil Dead esque.
No, it
No,
wasn't. But
no,
it's just
not
like
at
she
all.
had like her legs. It was like it would have been a panty shot.
Yeah,
You know, if they.
she's definitely
yeah.
known for that though from the Alien franchise. I don't think that was like what she wanted to do though. So, but at least this one she's more covered up. Hopefully, she was more comfortable with this film. I just think that
Super
scene
cool.
was really, really cool.
And how the
framing of
chair
it's-
just moves.
Let me tell you, if my chair did that, passing out immediately. Just
But
I'd
you
pass
want
out
to
from
visit
fear.
like a sanatorium, and like
Yeah, that's different though. Like, cause like I'm
it's
not gonna
different
have-
until your chair starts moving.
I'm not gonna
yeah.
have like poltergeist type shit happen to me though, because
Oh, because you're so different.
No, honestly, if I were ever being haunted, here's the thing, because we recently discussed, I've been diagnosed with ADHD. I forget shit anyway, and I forget where I put things all the time. How would I ever know? How would I ever notice? I'd be like, didn't I? I just probably left it open myself, and just close it, you know?
That's funny. That's a skit right there.
Like, I would literally, like, if I'm ever, I don't know, if my, like, you know, family in, like, spirit form ever try to mess with me, I'd probably just gaslight myself into being, like, thinking that I did this.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Yeah. You go upstairs and your books are all in that stack like in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I must have done that at some point.
Oh, gosh. It's just so funny. I think that part is really funny to me, though, because he's like, oh, my God. Yeah, this stack, like, humans could never do this. Humans could never stack books.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't like that character.
I think that was really funny. My problem is I just didn't understand, like, does Venkman, at first I was questioning, does Venkman not believe in the ghosts? Because he kept on finding reasons to not go see the ghost, to like, oh yeah, this is a normal person's stack. He seemed very skeptical about the whole ghost thing.
I think he's one of those guys, personally, who's like, he wants to be like cool, like a cool doctor. I'm a cool doctor. I'm not a nerdy doctor. I don't believe in this nerdy stuff. And then he actually sees it and he believes it. But I think that he has like that battle between like actually like immersing himself into that world, I think. Okay. I personally do. I don't think that it might not be that nuanced. And maybe that's my interpretation of him, because I like to think that Bill Murray is just a lovable asshole. Mm-hmm. But that is my hill that I will die on.
I think a lot of people would agree. Yeah.
But I do want to share this really cool storyboard clip of Dana and the chair scene, because it's a storyboard on top and on the bottom it's showing what the actual scene is. I did cut it down a little bit just for time's sake because it's long. That's terrifying as hell.
Yeah, that was such a detailed storyboard. Wow.
What? Right? That's so detailed. Like, typically when I see storyboards, they're kind of just general ideas, stick people.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing really that's a really detailed. That looks like really something like my grandmother does for like her wedding plans, for like when she deals with clients and stuff. Mm. Like she does like detailed like I don't know, arrangement drawings, and I'm like, what the hell? What the hell, man? That's so beautiful.
It's cool.
And my nana's like, oh, that's nothing. That's garbage. And I'm like, this is beautiful. This is art. Cool thing, if you like any of the fun behind the scenes stuff, they have so much of it on the Ghostbusters YouTube channel. They also have their own little TV show, a cartoon animated series called The Real Ghostbusters. Seasons 1 and 2 are available on YouTube to watch on the Ghostbusters YouTube channel. Full length episodes, like 24 episodes, that kind of like 24 like minute kind of episodes kind of thing. Really cute looking. It's adorable. Like I didn't know they all existed there, so I'm gonna go watch it in my free time just because I love the Ghostbusters.
I've seen a couple clips. I'm interested. I might check out a couple episodes. I also found out that Ernie Hudson is the only Ghostbuster that auditioned to play his character on the cartoon show, and he didn't get it.
Why are they?
We all just made very offended faces.
Why are they doing this to our man Ernie Hudson, who has so much love for the Ghostbusters? And they're doing like a Matthew Lillard type thing for like Shaggy, you know what I mean? But like not quite to that level, because Shaggy had been doing the voice for like years. But that's still fucking annoying.
That's strange, isn't it?
Because Ernie Hudson was Winston.
Yeah. You don't sound like him enough. Next.
So yes, we had Dan Aykroyd as Ray Stantz. You said you liked him. Cool. I loved him. I thought he was great. Bill Murray, Peter Venkman, Harold Ramis playing Egon Spengler. And then, of course, here is one of my favorite quotes from him in the movie. It's just funny the way that he delivers it.
There's something very important I forgot to tell you.
What?
Don't cross the streams.
Ernie Hudson, of course, is Winston Zedmore. Here's one of my favorite clips as well of Egon and Winston and their banter.
Represents the normal amount of psychokinetic energy in the New York area. According to this morning's sample, it would be a Twinkie 35 feet long, weighing approximately 600 pounds.
That's a big Twinkie.
That's just iconic.
That's a big Twinkie.
That's a really iconic line.
I like it.
Huh?
I like it.
Oh, I thought you said I don't get it. And I was like, what? And I feel like you're just like messing with me. You're just trying to make me feel like you hate this movie.
No, I love it. I thought it was great, especially the second hour. I loved it.
Of course, Rick Moranis is Louis Tully. I should have pulled a clip for him, but I didn't.
What?
Sigourney Weaver, Dana Barrett. We know her. We love her. She's been in a lot of wonderful things. She was in Cabin in the Woods, if you remember. We watched that. She played the director. The director.
Oh, I remember that.
Like at the end when they're all like you're supposed to be sacrificed. You're the virgin. That kind of thing. Like they all had their role. They all had their place. The ancient gods.
That was a weird movie.
You liked it. What do you mean?
No, I like weird movies.
Okay, I thought you were saying like that was a weird movie. Like
It was a weird movie. Do you disagree?
I don't.
Wasn't
think
there
it's
like a
that
lobster
weird.
man that ate somebody?
I don't think there was a lobster man. There was just different monsters.
Yeah.
And they were all like taking bets on what monster that they were going to pick for their story, which I just thought it was cool as fuck. That was a cool concept.
Can I mention my favorite joke in the movie? That we haven't covered. There's a scene where the EPA finally gets them, and they're all brought to the mayor's office and his attention, and and Ray explains how the gentleman that brought them in is dickless, and then the mayor asks him, "Is this true?" And Venkman says, "Yes, it's true.
He has no dick."
That's funny.
Oh, so you thought Venkman was funny?
Yeah, I thought a lot of the stuff he said was funny.
Yeah, so he's a lovable asshole. Yes, he was kind of creepy with the women, but like he also did
you're
say.
right. Who cares about women? You know.
No, he also did. Okay, one of my favorite lines though that he does deliver was like, "I have this rule. I don't get with possessed people." And then she was like, "I want you like inside me, whatever." And he was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! I think you already got 2 people inside you right now." I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny the way that it was delivered. I thought it was great. I don't know.
I wasn't super into that scene either. He gives this unconscious woman a kiss. But another part of that...
he also keeps, saying, no, I don't think we should. I mean, I think that
But
there
even,
is some notable...
I don't know. I was confused on whether they ended up doing it that scene or not. I ultimately decided that no, but I could definitely see people thinking that they did.
I think that it was a tussle, and I think that he ended up like I don't know, using his belt or something.
It's just he has less clothes on when he's answering the phone later. So I'm like, did they do anything?
I mean, you would only know by watching the deleted scenes. I haven't yet watched the deleted scenes, believe it or not. So, I mean, they do have them online. So, I mean, if we do find out that he does do some things, then that would change the narrative a lot for me as well. So, Annie Potts, Janine Melnitz. Who doesn't love her?
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
I adored her. I loved her very much.
Yeah, I loved her with Econ. Can you do your impression of that real quick?
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, right? You do it.
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
You're not even trying. You're not even trying.
Can you do it again? Say Ghostbusters.
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 You gotta have like the New York thing.
Yeah, you gotta have the New York.
New York.
New York.
New York.
Ghostbusters. It's like A-H instead.
It's like Harley Quinn, right?
Yeah, it's like Harley Quinn and the nanny.
Overall, what did you think of the movie? What were your thoughts? What was your favorite part?
My favorite part is anything that had Rick Moranis after he became the Keymaster. I think it was just so funny. His performance was phenomenal.
Oh my
He was
God.
silly. He was goofy. He was ridiculous. Anytime I saw him was such a delight.
One of my favorite parts with him is after they're all done fighting the Stay Puft and they all have like all the goo all over them, and then he's like, "Who are you guys?" And they're like, "We're the Ghostbusters," and he's like, "Oh, who does your taxes?"
Yeah, great. His house party, and like he's like, I didn't invite any friends. Everybody here is a coworker.
Yeah, and then whenever they enter, like he greets people in, and he's just telling everybody like their intimate tax information.
Yeah,
like she's embezzling like $15,000 or something like that.
So funny,
Yeah,
so funny.
Yeah, but so he was probably my favorite part of the movie, as well as Egon's relationship with the secretary. Do you want to rate this?
Do I want to rate this? 10 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, look at all this memorabilia here.
10 out of 10, yeah. It's perfect.
Despite my criticism of Venkman, I do think the second hour of this movie was so fun and enjoyable, and it's such an icon in American pop culture that I cannot give it anything less than an 8.
Okay, I can respect that. So far, it's a 9, right?
9,
That's what the average is?
9 out of 10, that's pretty good, right?
That's not too bad. Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Bailey, do you want to attach a number to this?
I was going to agree with you. I believe it is an 8. If Venkman wasn't just a sleazeball the entire movie, and if the characters had more character arcs, I think it would be a solid 10 out of 10, but I enjoyed it immensely. I'm excited to rewatch it again in the future, and I found it very charming.
I'm excited to watch the next one. Thanks for listening to the episode. We're excited to do this season.
But, oh yeah, that's the end.
Thank you for listening to Fright or Flight, a Live Oaks Village production. This episode was hosted by Geraldine Johnson and Saul Alberto Arzmendi Ochoa. Produced by me, Bailey B. Edited by Geraldine Johnson and music composition by Saul Alberto Arzmendi Ochoa.